Good morning, YouTube. So with today's video, I'm going to give you 10 designer fragrances that were love at first sniff. So listen, I know I'm cringe, I am cheesy, I've always been that way. I own it, all right? But this list here is not in any numerical order, and unfortunately with some of these fragrances, they are discontinued, but if you can get them for a good price tag, then just do so. First one is going to be YSL Y Myself. This is the newest fragrance in this list, but this is a hater love scent, and the criticism that I got in some of the videos, boy, y'all take this hobby way too seriously, okay? Just chill, just relax. It's just an opinion, and there's nothing to get your knickers, your man thong, whatever, because it's generally the dudes that take this shit too seriously. That, you know, this is not going to change the world, but this one here does have a lot of bergamot, so a lot of citrus. It's got some orange blossom, some ambroxan, and a whole lot of patchouli that does add that backbone to it. The patchouli is what adds the masculinity into the scent, because I find that this easily could be a unisex fragrance because of the orange blossom. It is a modern day gentleman's fragrance. It's not going to be for everybody, as I said, it's a hater love, but for me, I really love the citrus and the patchouli. I'm not a big patchouli lover, but in this it's actually quite nice. But the take with the orange blossom is actually quite nice. You know, it adds that gently component. I'm not like a perfect gentleman. I really ain't. You know, I can be very blunt, very outspoken, and some people just don't like that. But when I wear this, I really do feel like, you know, I'm a perfect gentleman. Just adds that boost of confidence. This is a great versatile fragrance for the springtime and longevity. I get like excellent longevity, like 9-10 hours. Some people will get anywhere from 6 to 8, but just try it out if you can. You might love it, you might hate it. Number 2, this is going to be like a designer exclusive, like a luxury fragrance, but for a luxury line, are they very affordable, all right? And that's going to be Dunhill's Mongolian Cashmere. This is marketed towards the men, like this one here, but in my opinion, this can be a unisex scent because of the powdery orris. There's a lot of orris to this one here. There's some geranium and some rose. I don't really get rose or geranium per se, but I do get a slight floral touch. So it does lean a little towards the femininity, but if you love powdery orris, iris, whatever, this is one that you're definitely gonna have to get your nose on if you haven't. But there's definitely some pink pepper in the opening. There's some suede and definitely some musk. This is like a very musky, powdery scent with a little bit of warm spices, little florals, and that suede, of course. It is beautiful, very much like the YSL. It's a gentleman's fragrance, and then in my opinion, this is very unisex. This is perfect for the spring, very versatile, and it does have a little bit of a mature feel to it because of like the powdery nuance and maybe like the florals per se, but just a beautiful gentleman's fragrance that is very underrated. Fragrance number 3, unfortunately, this one was perhaps like a limited edition, but it's definitely harder to come by. If you can get it, then just do so. It's nothing groundbreaking, but wow. Like, it's just wow. And that's gonna be Calvin Klein Euphoria Liquid Gold. Now this has black pepper, it's got sandalwood, and it's got beautiful. And this is the note that really just grabbed my attention, is the saffron. The saffron is warm, it's up front. That is what really will grab your attention. Then it's gonna be the spices, then it's gonna be like the sandalwood towards the base. But pretty much it's, you know, it's a linear scent, because like the top note is black pepper, the mid is the saffron, and the base is the sandalwood. It's really just like a linear fragrance, or it just goes from top to bottom within a few minutes. This is great for the fall and winter time. It's masculine, so it's like very mysterious. It's a little edgy. It's a little bit of a bad boy fragrance, but it's very gentlemanly like as well. Not gentlemanly as in like this type of gentlemanly, because you know, like there's different types of gentlemen. You have the gentleman that's like the suit and tie, the very polished. Then you have like the old school masculine type of guys that were very gentlemanly as well. Think of the Kingsmen. So the Kingsmen, I've used them so many times, but the Kingsmen do have this type of gentlemanly to it, but their bad side is this. That's what it is, pretty much. Great longevity as well, 8 to 10 hours. Next fragrance is from a brand that I really got into in 2023. There's two brands that I got really into in 2023, Montel, but as well Kenzo Power. When I first got this, I thought it was Kenzo Power cologne because there is a heavy lemon verbena in this scent. It's not listed, but lemon verbena is listed in Kenzo Power cologne. You just get this heavy dose of lemon verbena. You get like geranium, there's some floral notes, there's some warm spices, and there's gonna be like an ambery touch. So some of the warm spices are gonna be like coriander and cardamom. There's definitely a heavy dose of florals, and the base is gonna be like tolu balsam and like woods. The base itself is what adds that masculine touch because it does have a bit of an old lady's feel. You know, this very much like this one here is an acquired, you have to have particular tastes. And when I first smelled it, I'm like, whoa, I love it, but I'm unsure, right? Because it's not something that I generally would gravitate to. But this past year, in 2023, I really matured. Like I've learned a lot about myself. I've matured up here. I'm still gonna be goofy and silly. That's just who I am. But you know, I've rekindled some friendships that I've lost, whether it was because of them or even me itself, where I've had to take ownership. I'm not sure if this is discontinued or not. I've got mine off of FragranceNet back in the spring of last year, and it comes and goes. I actually got this for about 60 bucks Canadian, so when you convert that, that's less than $50 USD. This is a prime spring, and I would say fall fragrance, like autumn scent, but like transition from summer to autumn when it's still warm, but it's getting cooler out. Longevity, 6 to 7 hours. Fragrance number 5, this brand unfortunately is discontinued all their fragrances. And I really plugged this brand a lot when I first came into the reviewing aspect back in 2013. Canali Summer Night. This is a great scent, and I still, like when I smell it, it still has that wow factor, that love at first smell. It really does. There's a lot going on in here, but the main takeaway is going to be like fruity nuance, like fruity pineapple, citruses, but as well the leather. There are other notes in this scent, such as like coriander, there's some apple, some violet, there's going to be some wood, so sandalwood, cedar, whatever. But it's the pineapple and leather with a little bit of the spicy nuance that really grabs my attention. This is rather classy, surprisingly. Like, I wish that Canali did not discontinue any of their scents. Like, Canali is a men's brand from Italy, and they're known for their suits. Their fragrances, really not so much. So maybe that's the reason why that they discontinued all their scents. I don't know. But this, just fantastic. Pineapple, leather. I think that there's some orange blossom, definitely the violet, because there is a slight powdery nuance, but super aromatic, just very gently. Just has that Italian feel to it. Let's stick with something that has that Italian feel to it, but it's from an English brand, but definitely has that Italian feel, and it has an Italian name. Dunhill's Amalfi Citrus. This is what the Amalfi Coast would smell like. This is heavy in citruses. I believe there's like 4 or 5 different citruses. I believe there's as well petitgrain. There's most certainly neroli. I think a little bit of orange blossom, some tea, some jasmine, and I think there's like some vetiver and some cedar. It's very citrusy. There's going to be that orange blossom type of feel with musk and a little bit of woods. It is definitely a unisex scent because, in my opinion, this smells like, and it's not 100%, but it has that Tom Ford Neroli Portofino, Tom Ford, boy, what's the other one that's really popular that came out right around the same time? You know what, names right here, including the bottle, but as well, Ferrari Bright Neroli. It's not 100%, but if you smell fragrances that are very heavy in citruses, particularly neroli and petitgrain, then you know what this smells like. And it has that, like that white floral and that musky dry down. fantastic, prime for the summertime. And for a citrus scent, there is a certain bit of class to it. It's not overly formal, but if you're going to like a daytime semi-formal event, like let's say like a wedding on the Amalfi Coast, or even just a wedding here in Toronto, this is a great suit and tie fragrance for an event like that. Longevity is going to be about 6 to 7 hours. Next one was definitely a cheapie and was hyped to death from Jeremy Fragrance, and gotta give him props. I understand why it was hyped. Moschino Uomo. I am someone who avoids the hype train. I just pretty much am, but this stuff is really good. This is quite musky and it's powdery. So you are gonna get aldehydes, you're gonna get musk, there's some sort of floral. I think it's lotus. There's gonna be some citruses, some kumquat, a little bit of cedar, some wormwood, and so on. It's masculine, old school, but with a bit of a gentleman's touch. Like when I'm thinking this, in some ways, this here, this is more masculine than this, okay? And of course, this one here. But I use like the analogy for either one of these fragrances, like the old school masculine with suits. You know, like for this one here, I think when I talked about it, like when I reviewed it, it was like, I said like World War II generation. A lot of those guys, a lot of those vets became blue collar workers, but a lot of them as well became like white collar guys. So like, you know, the white collar guys are gonna be wearing the suits. Even like the blue collar guys, a lot of the times they wore suits on the weekends, like to church, to functions. That's that type of old school masculinity. Longevity is gonna be about 6 hours, and this is great for the spring and autumn. Next one, unfortunately, has been discontinued, but if you can get it for the right price tag, just do so. Calvin Klein Euphoria Amber Gold. This stuff here was love at first sniff. Oh God. So sandalwood, incense, leather, some honey. The honey in this is what adds that. Okay, so it's got like heavier notes, right? The sandalwood, the leather, I think I said saffron. Saffron is definitely in it, but it does have heavier notes. It's the honey that adds a little bit more, I don't want to say commercial or mainstream. It makes this one a little bit easier to wear. So if you're not really into heavy, deep fragrances, this is one that you might like because of the honey accord. There's also a little bit of sage and oregano to add a little bit of an herbal touch, and there's going to be some jasmine or some sort of floral. It's not overly floral, it's more amber wood smokiness with the honey, and it is gorgeous, just gorgeous. I love it. And I was actually introduced to this one because of Kevin Samuels. He hyped this one up on his channel years ago. It does have that Middle Eastern feel, but with a Westerner's touch. And longevity, fantastic, 9 to 10 hours. Next one, whew, boy, this was another hyped fragrance, and you know, I don't do the hype stuff, but this was rightfully got its flowers for good reason. Mercedes-Benz Select Night. If you love Tom Ford Noir Extreme, this is one that you're going to love. It doesn't have the Tom Ford price tag, but it's not as cheap as it used to be. You used to get this for like 30 bucks. I believe it goes for about like 50, 60 bucks, which in my opinion, it's still good bang for your buck because longevity is fantastic, but the projection and the sillage are fantastic, you know, and just, you can't go wrong. It's versatile, it's classy, but it's sexy. So this is heavy in lavender, cardamom, there's a little bit of orange blossom, it's gonna be heavy in vanilla as well. There's a little bit of wood, just absolutely fantastic. Versatile as hell for the autumn and winter time, but daytime, nighttime, if your personality is classy, but you have that like that swagger, this is something that you might like, because a man with confidence, women just love. And a woman also love a man with confidence who wears a suit. So if you got both, this is that third, this is gonna add that extra sex appeal to it. And last but not least, this one originally was not gonna make the cut, but I couldn't find the one that I originally wanted. So I saw this one, I'm like, okay, I'll probably do another video like this, but last but not least, Boss Bottle Oud Saffron. This stuff is great. It's not original. I gotta state that. It's not original, but it just smells so freaking amazing. So you're gonna get like ladamum, oud, you're gonna get like saffron, and you're also gonna get rose. The note breakdown is nothing original. Like if you smelled a lot of rose oud based scents, you have an idea as to what this smells like, because saffron is also added to a lot of those types of fragrances, but it's the extra dose of saffron. So think of like a recipe. So if the recipe is calling for like a teaspoon, you add a tablespoon. It's just that extra dose of saffron that really just made me love this scent. And like the oud itself, it's a little, I don't want to say like authentic, it's a little dirtier, a little bit smokier, but it's still commercial, it's still mass appealing enough for people to, like out here, to enjoy it. This is still available on FragranceNet for about 120 Canadian. You know, it's a little bit more expensive, but if you love something like this, or if you want something in your collection, then just get it. For me, it's very gentlemanly, but it's bad boy at the same time. It's bad boy because of like the labdanum, the saffron, and the oud, but it's the rose that adds that gentlemanly component to it. Autumn and wintertime, very versatile, performance great, 9 to 10 hours. And guys, that is 10 designer fragrances that were love at first sniff. Again, I'm Captain Cringe and I own it. So any reviews that I've done on these fragrances, if you want to check those out, they will all be in the description box below. If you like this very video, please leave me one of these. It really does help with the channel and the algorithms. What videos to watch next? Well, you can check out right here. So I thank you for your time, take care, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.